As of this time, some of us call it the golden age of freelancing actually, because everyone right now is work at home. There are things that really need to be said. First, let's go to the do's. One, make something. For you to show something, you need to make something. If you're starting out, it does not need to be perfect, but it is at least something you can do at your very best at that point in time. You also need the quantity. So you can't just show just one piece and that's your magnum opus. Everybody would also want to see your range. If you're not doing it for them, do it for you.
Do be open to different kinds of freelancing gigs. So, like me, I really started out as an illustrator because I wasn't very confident with my graphic design skills. But since I'm in multimedia arts, I was able to learn here and there. So I was also able to get enough courage to explore graphic design gigs. So yeah, you should be open to different kinds of freelance stuff that you can take on.
Make room for mistakes. Huwag kang matakot na magkamali sa mga previews or mga first artworks mo kasi you will improve sa tamang panahon.
Kailangan pag nagtrabaho ka, may kontrata. Siyempre, pag may kontratang provide, kailangan babasahin mo. Kasi hindi pwedeng pipirma ka lang. Mas mahirap nun, hindi mo binasa tapos hindi mo alam na may nakasulat pala dun na hindi ka agree or hindi ka sang-ayon dun sa terms and conditions kung paano kayo magtatrabaho.
Take care of your health, especially mental health. Because as a freelancer, being burned out is highly possible since you are the one dictating your workload and your pace, which means you also need to know your physical limits as well. Since your eyes and hands are the best tools, second only to your mind. So taking breaks, keeping up with physical and mental health is a primary concern.
I-set nyo yung rate nyo higher dun sa ina-expect ng client nyo. Marami ako na-experience na tumatawad sila. Pag tumawad sila, dun kayo babagsak sa hindi naman ganun kababa sa ina-expect mo na magiging rate mo sa kanila.
Make lasting connections. Even if you're working for small clients, small commissioners, it's nice to make connections because it leads to have a following, grow a following. It leads you to make friends. Sometimes it would lead you to making friends with other artists who are also friends with other clients. It may not be networking per se, but sometimes, as they say, the best PR is word of mouth. Another is remember to hone your skills. This is quite important, especially in the current landscape right now, because there is no shame in relearning or taking some time to practice.
I-background check niyo yung client niyo. Kasi kung alam niyo naman na medyo malaki tong company na to or kilala sila, kumbaga factor din yun sa pag-rate ng kumbaga sa pagbigay niyo ng rate sa kanila.
Learn to let go. Learn when something is a lost cause and just start over. Learn to let go from a project or a contract or a client who sounds too good to be true or is starting to sound like someone you should avoid. Learn to let go of perfection and just do something for you. Number one, do not work for exposure. Exposure will not feed you now. Sure, you're spreading your name, but it's a gamble.
Wag kang gagawa ng free na art. Eventually, kapag nasanay ka ng free art, may hirapan kang itaasan yung rates mo. Minsan kasi inaabuso tayo, mga artists, ng mga customers, lalo na kapag free. So minsan, hindi mo na-realize na yung time mo nauubos na kakagawa ng art na yun, tapos parang wala kang nakukuha or wala tayong nakukuha out of it. In a way, nababurnt out ka kasi parang ano bang nagagawa ka after ito? Parang gano'n. Kung gagawa tayo ng free art. So ayun.
Another point, do not undervalue your work. You may be setting a competitive price, but it will harm you in the long run. To set the bar really low would disrespect the resources spent on you. Also, by lowballing your prices, You would set a trend to other freelancers. You would force them to adjust their fees to meet the demand, which in turn would result in overwork and underpaid, and being underpaid for you and the rest of the community. So it is a very destructive thing. Don't do it.
Don't be afraid to ask questions, lalo na kapag may mga kakilala ka na matagal na sa industry ng pag-freelance. Ayun, huwag ka matakot sa kung paano ba sila nagbibigay ng price or paano ba yung ganito ganyan, lalo na kapag first time mo pa lang. So ayun, so don't be afraid to ask other people pagdating sa mga, lalo na kapag same industry as you.
You also shouldn't settle for less just because you want to earn this amount of money in a certain time frame. You're already willing to take in a lot of jobs that don't actually pay you well. So it's okay to take on a lot of jobs, but make sure that you're always well compensated enough for it. I would tell myself to not be shy when I'm negotiating, because when I started out, especially as an illustrator, I would always agree to getting underpaid just because I think that, oh, I'm not really skilled enough yet, so it's okay if I get paid a bit low for this. No, you should always be able to, or at least try to negotiate your way out of a pretty bad rate that the employer or the client is offering. It's not going to be worth your time. I know you're probably going to start out thinking that since I'm starting out, maybe it's okay if I get underpaid here and there. You're definitely going to regret that in the future. So I'd tell myself to not be shy to negotiate.
To not doubt too much sa artworks mo, lalo na nung mga bata ka pa. Kasi growing up, lalo na kapag walang sumusuporta sa industry ng art, medyo mahirap siya makuha yung confidence na kung anong meron ako ngayon. So ayun, so sana hindi mo dinadoubt yung sarili mo dati.
Sabihin ko sa dating ako, tuloy mo lang. Kasi wala naman akong pinagsisisihan dun sa mga past experiences ko. Maganda man or pangit yung mangyari dun sa mga clients or sa mga naging trabaho niya. Lesson learned pa rin yan sa inyo eh. I mean, may experience ka na hindi maganda, pero hindi naman lahat ganun. Kumuha kayo ng maganda dun sa experience na yun, tas yung mga pangit na nangyari, alamin nyo na sa next yung mga dapat at hindi dapat gawin.
I would say, let go of former prejudices and just take a chance. Because Lady Luck tends to favor those who take chances, where the odds are against you and the gamble has a risk. And I would also say to be greedy and learn. Experience what you can, because you would be so glad what you've learned would help you right about now.
Yun lang, huwag kayong titigil. Tuloy lang ang pag-freelance. Tanggap pa rin ang tanggap ng And hindi nyo malalaman kung hindi nyo siya itatry.
Ayun, siguro mabibigay ko na advice sa inyo is 1, don't be afraid to make mistakes. And 2, wag rin kayong matakot to step out of your comfort zone. Kung natakot kayong mag-draw ng ganitong art style, huwag kayong matakot na i-explore yun. Kasi by exploring that, by making mistakes, may makukuha ka pa rin at makukuha dun eh. Hindi naman pwede yung nagkakamali ka lang kasi wala kang makukuha when it comes to that. Kung may makuha ka mga experience or art style, maiaambag mo yun sa experience mo in the near future and magiging ox ka dun, magiging magaling ka dun, I swear.
It's all about the way you communicate. So you have to learn how to communicate in such a way that you are going to be firm with the kind of job description that you want, with the kind of pay that you want to receive. But also, you should learn to say it in a respectful way. You have to also make sure that you're not a pushover. You can't just allow your client to dictate the kind of rate that they want to pay you just because you want the job for the sake of, having a freelance gig. So yeah, you always have to be firm, but it won't hurt to be flexible with the rates. But you need to know what you're worth. You need to know how much time you're going to spend in a gig, and you need to be able to gauge if the amount that you're going to get paid for is worth the time and effort and talent and years of studying arts is going to be worth it.
As a freelancer, keep in mind that the people you meet, the people you befriend, are also your opponents. Remember, as a freelancer, you are more mercenary than a temp worker or a substitute. So do not be surprised when you learn that a, an acquaintance of yours or a friend of yours is fighting for the same position or a same contract or the same project as you are. Because at the end of the day, it is literally may the best one win. So to future freelancer, please do not take it personally when we meet up on the battlefield, because when we do, you may be severely outmatched. But by the same merit, if you do need help, I can assist you as much as I can. In doing so, I do hope that you would learn to spread this act of kindness as a courtesy, as a professional courtesy. Also, I would like to say that I wish to bring up a certain preconceived notion or belief about freelancing. Since one, being a freelancer, people tend to think that we are merely jobless or lazy. Realities are that there are more people in this job space than people with others would realize. There are a lot of people fighting just for a handful of positions. And because of that, there are many of us. Freelancers are not necessarily locked into one specialization alone. Another notion is that we simply do nothing all day. Somewhat untrue. Sure, I would admit I sometimes play video games all day. However, within that time, that is actually scheduled, because seriously, there would be a day in a week where we actively seek out chances to land another project or merely take time to hone our skills again for our next battle, so to speak. At the very least, we are the best time management specialists there is. So to some of those people who tend to see a person who's just doing nothing, don't be so quick to judge. We're merely taking a break for our physical and mental states, but we do work just as hard as you guys are, and we do have the same share of problems as you do. We are human too.